but I never know. So
Going live. I see the live button. It's showing up.
All right. Hey, Shawn here, Higher League Chill. It's I have no idea what day it is. I've been so busy trying to do all these demos from this little conference from a couple of weeks ago.
It's a Tuesday. I know it's a Tuesday because we had tacos for dinner. So I know it's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to be Taco Tuesday at the Platta House. So we're gonna dive right into a couple things and just get it going. But I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of labor market stuff and all that because there's way too much to talk about over the last couple of weeks that have been going on. And I got my main man, Dan Platta, with me, and my very, very special guest and a good friend of mine, Debbie Sardone. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. I in fashion of the past themes of your podcast, I'm come ready and locked and loaded.
Heck yeah.
Just like a true Texan should.
That's right.
All right. All right.
Don't breach the compound.
Yeah.
We were chatting just a little bit before we got on, and I said I'm going to save this story. I think I told Dan, but I don't remember. So I'm supposed to speak, I think, around 1:00 on the virtual stage at CBF Live, and I'm going to start it this way, and then we'll
CBF
back into
Live virtual 2020.
Virtual. Yes, I'm sorry. Which was live, a live virtual event.
It was a live virtual. Yeah.
So I'm listening to you talk about recruiting stuff and this and that, and you mentioned that panic number, and it just, I call it like capacity insurance, and there's different things you can do with that, but it all comes down to that's the best way to look at it is a panic number, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so I'm listening to that, so I go into my presentation. And I'm like, I got to change it. I got to add that thing in there, man, that panic. So I'm like doing like exactly what you're not supposed to do about a half hour before you're supposed to go out and present. I'm just changing stuff up. I'm like, oh, and then, and so you go into sort of a green room, I guess, when you're waiting to get introduced on stage to speak. And so there's a clock, and I think I got in maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes before, check the audio and do these things. And there's this is like something crazy in one hand, but it's crazy just because it's unknown how you go through this whole thing of getting in this green room and getting on this stage, but it's so well done that you can't mess it up. I could not trip over myself and mess it up. It was so easy, but I was just like, where am I at? What's going on? So the clock's ticking down. There's a minute left on the clock, so I know I'm about going. There's 500, some 600, whatever it was, people. And the electricity goes off in my house. It's pitch black. A minute.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
No.
I thought I told you. Oh, I swear.
It was flawless because I never saw that. I never knew that.
It was off. I mean, black. I'm in the basement. And I'm just like, So it comes back on in 10 seconds, one of those kind of out and in. But I'm looking at my Wi-Fi and it's blinking, trying to reboot.
Rebooting.
Oh my gosh! I'm just going. I'm looking up at God and going, "What did I do? What did I do?" No, don't answer that. Wait a minute. So,
another lightning bolt.
Exactly. The bolts are coming. So literally, I think there was 3 seconds on the clock, and I think Shawn Day's ready to go, and I boom. And then when you do that, there is camera after camera. There's a dozen people's faces coming at you right when that happens. And I've got 30 minutes to go over so much I wanted to go over. That was my little story behind the scene.
I had no idea. You hit it flawlessly. So like they say, the show must go on, and you didn't let it stall. So I had no clue. That was flawless.
Oh man!
The only way to like be prepared for something like that is to run a small business long enough where you're just like, all right, let's just solve another problem solved.
I'm back online.
Yeah, here we are.
That's so funny. But so let's talk about it because Dan, you and I talked about it. I think on your radio show and stuff just a little bit, but you had some really cool things to say about it and some things that were like, wait a minute, how does that kind of play out? But let's let Debbie kind of lay out what it was. And so those people that don't know what it was, you missed it. Boy, did you miss something big, man.
Man, oh man, it was so exciting and so fun. So we took CBF Live, which we've done for I believe 8 years in a row now, CBF Live, and we went virtual. whereas we've been doing it live forever. And we pack the house with over 500 people in the room normally when we're live in Dallas. And I just 2 years ago, I said, I'm ready for a change. And it's always scary to make a change when you're on top. It's always scary to make a change when you're succeeding, right? Most of us wait and make changes when we're forced out. And I told my team, I said, I'm ready for a change. I want to do this virtual in 2026. And nobody pushed back. Everybody said, that sounds like a great idea. So we set out, we hired a firm, Sage Studios, which is very well known. They became incredibly famous right during the pandemic when everybody was trying to figure out what is this Zoom thing. Well, we had been already using it for years, but they pivoted all these live events, like Russell Brunson and all these big names, Tony Robbins. They pivoted to the Sage Studios with the gallery wall and the huge LED wall where you could see your attendees. And I said, that's what I want. I want to do this live, but virtual. I don't want it sitting behind a desk like we're talking tonight, which is fun, but not for 2 full days. And we had some speakers like Shawn come in virtually and do his talk. You never really felt like he wasn't there with us. And our coaches flew in, those that were able to make it flew in and talked live on our stage. I spent the 2 days live on our stage, and it literally was the same event that Tony Robbins uses. And it was spectacular. And of course, Dan Platta with Best Damn Bookkeeping, and of course, Shawn with Higher Lead Chill. You were both sponsors. And it's always scary to do a sponsorship for the first time. Like, will this crash and burn or will it be successful? But we had over 560 people register. And the show up rate for a virtual event can tend to be extremely low, even down or as low as 20% show up rate. So I didn't have high expectations. I was like, well, I hope at least 200 show up. We had over 430 people show up day one, and for the most part showed up day two, only a little bit of a trickle off towards the latter part of a Friday on day two. But we had high engagement, high participation, high level of show up rate, and even Sage Studios and our producer that helped produce the whole thing. And Shawn, you would have loved the behind the scenes. So both of you next year need to come live. But even the producer and Sage Studios said, we've never seen a show up rate like this. And I attribute that to, number one, we brought in great sponsors and vendors who had things that the residential cleaning industry needs, like your software for recruiting and Dan's software and platform for bookkeeping. And we had industry specific content, nothing generic. And people are hungry nowadays. They're hungry for industry specific knowledge. There's so much knowledge out there, but when it's not specific to your industry and where you're at, it's just harder to figure out how it applies. And so overall, it was a huge success, as successful as our live events. Lots of new CBF members, lots of new Higher Lead Chill and BDB, clients. And that's what we wanted, is to elevate the industry and give them what they need. So it was fun. And thank you for taking a risk and sponsoring with us. It paid off in every way. We are all thrilled. We didn't get a single complaint from anybody that said, oh, I've heard that before, or this was boring. We kept it at 2 days on purpose, and we may be doing it again in the near future for those who missed out. So wait and see.
Frankly, Debbie, I was like blown away. And Shawn mentioned it. And he and I had talked, like, when we first found out it was going to be virtual. I've done 2 or 3 other virtual events and they're just duds. And I was like, man, it's tough. Like, I was like, gosh, I don't, it's Debbie. So we're going to support Debbie because it's Debbie. And if it fails, like, we'll crash and burn with Debbie. That'll be a good time. We'll crash and burn with Debbie. But like, in the past, they've just not worked out. What vendor or show at large, right? They just didn't do it. And Shawn and I both were like, yeah, but it's Debbie. Oh, so like the care that you give to it and the intentionality that you give to it and the thought. And I mean, like, I think you just pointed out one thing, which is this was 2 years ago. You were like, we're going to do it virtual. Yes. It wasn't like, hey, in 2 months, let's switch this to be virtual and we'll just scramble and throw something together. I think I heard the Sage studio that you went to, that wasn't in Texas, was it? Wasn't it in like South Carolina?
No, we all had to fly to Charleston, South Carolina. And obviously we were hoping some of our speakers could fly in, but our coaches did, the most of them. And, my philosophy was, if I'm going to pivot how I do this, at least for a couple of years, I'm not saying I won't do CBF Live in the future, but I felt really good about making this change. I want to work with the best. And we interviewed for months people that would produce the event for us, people that know more about producing a live and exciting virtual event. And so we paid a lot of money to get the expertise, and it paid off because they delivered. And I told them up front, I want my sponsors to have an amazing experience. And I want people to connect with these sponsors because they have something that residential cleaning companies need if they're growing. If they're not growing, I guess you don't need anything, right? And they delivered. And so, of course, I have the best team in the world, I believe, on my staff, my Debbie Sardone Consulting staff. I believe we have the best coaches in the world. They're so knowledgeable, and their talks and their topics were amazing. I mean, I was sitting in the green room when I wasn't speaking, so I had this beautiful, I mean, you hear a green room, it's not the color of my shirt, right? There's a beautiful lounge chair in there that I could get cozy, and makeup mirrors and hairspray and stuff to touch up. And it was really a great place to get alone and be quiet, but I always had them on the screen. I got to hear Shawn Day's talk, which was phenomenal. The ABCs of hiring, always be Cruton. And listening to our coaches just deliver powerful content that will literally change the lives of cleaning business owners. I was so proud. And I was so glad I did it. And it is scary to make a big change when things are working well, right? They always say, yeah, you find out what works really well and then you change it, right? And that's, I always teach, don't do that. But I did. And obviously surrounded by talent like you guys and others, we had literally the most successful event we could have imagined. And I can't wait to do it again.
I think it was great timing too. And I'll tell you, on a industry-wide level, and then some, not just our industry, but there seemed to be the history of this whole thing with conventions where it was pretty cool live stuff going on. You travel around, you'd like to go to Vegas and, Dallas a little bit, and Orlando and all those places. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, so nobody can go anywhere. Flop after flop after flop with virtual stuff. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when we were all ready to go out and we were in jail, it seemed like for 4 years of COVID or whatever it was, and everybody went to every event you could possibly go to just to get, I didn't care how much it cost, where we were, let's just go somewhere.
Get out of Dodge.
For like 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, everybody and their brother's having a convention, and all of a sudden it's like, $2,000 to get a ticket, $900 to get a ticket, and then your travel, and then your hotel, and then your food, and then your Ubers, and then and then you got to buy something there, and then the vendors are going, why isn't anybody buying anything from us? Well, because it costs $10,000 to get here.
They're all broke.
They're broke. So I think that's been like just boiling over. It's not even. It's happened like 2 years ago. This whole nonsense with overcharging, and you came in with something different, affordable, and so high value for what you charged. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Back in the day, I would have paid $1,000 to attend a 2-day event like this because it didn't exist. And I paid a lot of money over the years to consultants. I have one particular consultant that I work with one-on-one. I think you all have heard his name, Alex Hormozy. And he reminded me, he's the one that said, you should do this. And he reminded me, he said, make this a killer event for your members and let everybody else come and see what they're missing out on. And I kind of made the mental decision that if my members leave going, I'm so glad I attended this for 2 days, and they weren't resentful that we didn't do a live in-person event, because they do love that, the connection, the collaboration, the community, then I will have succeeded even if new people don't find us. And that was a really great reminder, because our CBF members already travel a lot. Our advanced members have 2 private gigs a year in January and July. These are the $1 million, $500,000 to $2 million, $5 million cleaning companies. And then they have our big retreat every year in September. So, that's a lot of travel. And I thought, let me give them some value, deliver high quality training where they can do it from home. And some of them got together and rented Airbnbs and watched together as a cohort. Some of them got together at each other's locations and attended that way. It was really cool to see what our members did. But I think what was most exciting was several hundred non-CBF members that have no idea what this whole cleaning success formula looks like attended. And many of them joined, and their lives are about to change. Like, strap on your seatbelts, people. Your life is about to change. It's
one thing I noticed that I thought was really cool, and there's like two sides of this coin. And so I saw one side, but I'm really curious how this coin looked on your side, which is the whole time you're up there talking, there's a chat going on. And with 400, 500 people in the chat, it's a really active chat. I'm trying to like keep up with it.
Yeah.
And there were a few things I recognized in that, which is cool that you can't get in like an in-person event, which is somebody asks a question. Well, if Debbie's up on stage speaking, there's not an opportunity for them to ask the question. They got to save it. They might forget it. Now they can drop it in the chat, and there's people there that can answer and help.
CBF members were in there helping.
Oh yeah.
People. It was so cool.
And then there were the non-members who are like, what exactly is this? Can you explain this? And so like the community just spoke up, and there was one person that like naysayed it. Yeah. You would have thought they got in a fist fight. Like they like picked a fight on a playground with one kid, and like 20 kids came out of the bushes. They were like,
what are you saying?
Yeah, it was, I was like, and then somebody was trying to like ration with them. And I was like, let them go. They don't deserve to be here.
Go.
Like they're not the right person for this type of group. But from my side, I thought that was so beneficial, because you would say, even like when you put your P&L up on the board, somebody asks a question, and there's no way for you to like address the questions while you're
They're
up
like,
there.
What's a P&L? And they're like, and loss.
Yeah, and then I could get in the chat and like answer some questions and add some value.
I saw some of your questions, and you answering questions, and my team called it out. I think Jimmy, our MC, called it out. He's like, even Dan Platta is answering questions, or Diana said. So it was really cool.
I'm just in there slamming the keyboard trying to keep up. Crosby. The TV stopped babysitting Crosby. He came up and found me.
Quick, put it back on play.
Yeah.
Okay, can you ask Danny and Reggie to help you? Okay, I got on Reggie's iPad. That's a great iPad to go watch.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, can you shut the door behind you, dude, man?
Sure. Laura's in town. Laura, our insurance agent. How long's Laura been going to CBF stuff?
Oh man, for a long time. I've had a great relationship with Laura, and her new company name, which I can never remember. It's too new for me to remember. Do you remember the name? It's I
know who she was with for a long time, and she branched out on her own, and I think it was a great move.
Well,
I didn't know she did. That was her. That was her. Cool.
It was the name you couldn't pronounce, and that was her. And she is the insurance agent for the residential cleaning industry.
For sure.
Like, if you own a residential cleaning company and you need to be insured or need a better insurance agent, she's the one to call. So it's pretty great.
Dan, what else were you talking about? You had a lot of good points you were talking about, like on the other side of the coin and things like that.
So yeah, I was curious, like on my end, did Debbie freeze up?
I think she's freezing up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good now.
I clicked over to look up the name of her insurance company. I didn't realize it would take me off, but I'm back.
So like I'm struggling to keep up with the chat, right? Like just bam, and so I'm like, wait, is Debbie seeing all of this stuff? Like while you're speaking, are you seeing that? Yes. And how the hell do you not get I mean, maybe I'm just like way too ADD. I was gonna say, like, how did you stay focused on presenting your content when you just like bam, boo, boo, bam, bam, boo? Like that had to be a wild different experience speaking in that.
At times I didn't stay focused, and I don't see well enough to be able to see it without walking right over to it and getting out of the camera frame. So at a certain point, I told the team, who could speak out loud where y'all couldn't hear me or hear them. I told the team, just read them for me. It was really fun. Oh, there's Laura. She's in here. She's in here.
Yeah, I saw her in there. Peck Clark's in the house.
Thank you.
Majak's in the house. How do you
Lyceum.
pronounce that? Lyceum. Lyceum?
Lyceum.
Shawn, can you put it on the screen? I can't click
Laura,
on
can you please pick an easier for people like me?
There we go.
Patrick Clark is in the house. Hey, Patrick, great to see you. As John Majak. So you guys have some heavy hitters following your podcast.
Debbie, I've got to ask you a big favor. This is the most selfish thing I've ever done. there's somebody, and I won't mention his name, that I've applied to be a speaker at one of his events. Can you just give him an idea if I did anything good at all when I was speaking at your convention?
Word. One of my favorite speakers is Shawn Day. He's really engaging. He's entertaining, but the best part is his information is rock solid. So you'd be a fool not to let him on your stage.
Okay, let's move on. That's good enough. Dan, what were you saying, my man? Thank you.
No, back to like seeing all the stuff, because Debbie, like, we got a couple shots at what you saw, like a screen of faces.
The gallery wall behind me was incredible. Well, I mean, they would show it behind me. I was always looking at the gallery wall, but then the AV team would throw it up on the wall behind me and you guys could see it. It was so cool. I felt like Tony Robbins, the female version. I was channeling my female Tony Robbins.
And I'm curious, like every other virtual event, and I think that I mean, there's a lot of things that just made it amazing, but that alone, like everybody being on camera, and there's a certain level of accountability. Like Shawn knows this, when I do my group interviews, when Harley Chill sets me up with group interviews, like if somebody's not on camera, they're already out.
Right.
Like in our world, we live on camera. You build trust on camera, and you're accountable when you're on camera. And when I go to Dallas and I'm at your events, I'm out in the hallway and people are speaking, but a lot of times I'm by my booth and I'm like, oh, I'll get some stuff done. I multitasked a little bit during the live event, but I was there on camera for 2 straight days, and I was like, I'm not leaving.
Saw that.
And I'm like, accountable. I'm here and I'm on camera, and like, I've got some screens and team messaging me and stuff, but I didn't go to my team meetings. I said, you guys got it. Debbie might say, and then here's Dan, and if I'm not there and I'm not paying attention, I'm gonna look like a schmuck.
Right. I dropped your name several times.
and I was like, oh, hey, I'm over here. I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
Yeah. Debbie, you'd made mention of Sam or your staff and your help, who was phenomenal. I got to tell you, Sam, Diana, of course, was amazing, like she always is. Sam was really active, really involved. And I gave her a piece of feedback on something, and like literally in within that hour, it was completely changed in an improvement of something that was through the roof. And what happens when you're doing a vendor thing like this, it's amazingly very much like a live event, like being there. There's an exhibit hall, there's a vendor table basically. And to the extent where the very first, in the morning, the first time that they could, the audience or attendees could go to the booths in the exhibit hall, it seemed like there were only 1 or 2 people. So I reached out to Sam and I said, I don't know if I'm doing this wrong or anything like that, but she goes, you know what? We're just going to make sure they get there. We've got to do a better job in that. And it was like, then just like your event, there's 8 people deep. There's all these people showing up, just like live though, because you can only talk to one person and everybody else is looking at you and you're trying to get to them. Exactly. It felt so much the same to me.
Oh, wow. That is so great to hear. I have to say, I do have the most amazing team. Like, they make me look good. They make me look way better than I am. And this was Samantha's first live virtual event, as it was ours, Diana and mine. And she just crushed it. I mean, as soon as anybody said they needed something or wanted something, it was like, done. So hats off to her. And Diana, of course, orchestrates everything, executes it beautifully, flawlessly. The team that we worked with, the team that we hired, said, we've never worked with a team as organized and competent as your team. It's like, well, this isn't our first rodeo. It's just virtual. We really understand what people need. And it was great. It was just like, oh, let's do it again.
Well, I'm curious, from your standpoint, what was like the biggest surprise? Like, holy smokes, I didn't know that would go over so well. And what was like the biggest, I don't know. I don't even know if there's a right way to answer, but is there anything that immediately you're like, yeah, we got to do this differently, that didn't hit the way I wanted it to? Like, what were the highs?
I don't know if it was a complete surprise, but if I had anything I would call the biggest surprise is how smooth it went and how the production team I hired over-delivered instead of under-delivered. Usually when you hire people to help you with anything, you're lucky if you get everything they promised, right? They over-delivered. They gave us everything they promised. The organization, the orchestration. I mean, it's literally, he was a conductor. Our producer, the man that headed it up, was named Muddy. And he orchestrated every step. Like, I'm expected that I'm behind the scenes going, hey, can we do this? Hey, can y'all do this? Hey, can you? No, he thought of it before I did. And if I even thought of an idea and said, hey, can we do this? He said, oh, we're already doing it. So I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't have to run anything. And usually that's not the case. The first time you do anything, right, I'm the one going, we need this, we need this. Has anybody done this? Has anybody done that? I was completely unnecessary other than to show up and speak. And they did a phenomenal job. Did you like the party at the end? I don't know if you were able to stay to the end because it was Friday night, but we had the celebration party at the very end, the closeout, where we were all on stage, and even the AV team, we had them come out and they said, well, we've never done that before. So we had the AV team come out from behind the scenes. Of course, nobody was running AV while they were on stage with us. And they kind of put up party favors and all kinds of sparklers behind us. And we just wrapped it up, and people were hanging on to the very end.
I was outside. I brought my computer with. We were trying to pack up the truck, and my wife was like, Dan, we got a 3-hour drive.
We
and I was
gotta
like,
go.
And we were going to like turkey hunt with my nephew. And I'm like, well, we gotta shoot the bow. Oh, and Danny needs to shoot the bow quick. My oldest daughter, because she wants to like practice and get dialed in because now she's got a tag. And so like we're outside, and my daughter's like, what are you doing with your computer out here? I was like, the event's not over. Like we're still tuning in. I'm packing. I'm hauling my computer around. I'm like, well, we got to tune in. Debbie might say my name again. I might need to jump back on and be like, I'm still here.
I'm here.
Yeah, we stayed right till the end of it. It was great.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys were great support.
The only thing I didn't know what to do, like normally I have some light beers with me, and I was like, I don't know, in a virtual event, I don't know when the right time is to have a light beer. So I just drank waters the whole time. It was really weird.
Well, I came ready for tonight, and none of y'all did. So
hey now I'm ready. I'm incognito mode.
There you go.
What was the number one feedback you got, Debbie, from the event from from whoever, whether it was one of your clients that have been with you for a number of years that's doing multi-millions of dollars to the what's the feedback that you got back?
The number one feedback we got was the content was so good. That's always a scary thing, because it's one thing to have an exciting event and have some fun and some fluff, and we did contests throughout the entire event. We had drawings and things. But at the end of the day, I don't want to waste people's time, because their time is valuable. As entrepreneurs, they work harder than anybody they know, and too many times for less than people they know who work less than them. And I don't want to waste people's time. And the number one feedback we got, which is always the most important to me, is the content was so good, including our elites. These are people that are in multiple $1 million levels. They've left the industry way far behind. And even our elites stayed to the very end. And so that inspired me to feel like, okay, this stuff isn't beneath them. It's not kindergarten training. It's stuff they needed to hear again, or be reminded of, or rinse and repeat, or just break an old habit that crept back in. And so just the fact that people said the content was so good, that means everything to me, everything.
That's awesome. You had a really good story about somebody. Can you touch on that just a little bit with all the weight loss in her life? And is it Joanne? Is that who it was? And
Joanne Bracchio.
One of the amazing story. Can you touch on that a little bit? I just think it's beautiful.
Absolutely. She's one of the most inspiring women I know. And she came to CBF. And obviously she was older. She had already had her business for 40 years, and she joined. She signed up, and I had her strategy session. I'm the one that talked with her one-on-one. And she told me, I've got a business that's like doing 650,000, which, 7 or 8 years ago, obviously that was less uncommon than it is today. And she said, and I'm still cleaning. So I have all these people out there cleaning, all these crews. And after 40 years and over 600,000 in revenue, she's still cleaning. And I signed her up, and my first gut feeling was, what if she can't change? She might be too set in her ways and not change. And I really did I had the Debbie Dowder going on, because you do see people unwilling to change. And oh my word, she started implementing. She got out of the field after 40 years of cleaning in like a month or two, and she never picked up the mop again. And she put her daughter in charge, and she doubled her business, and she got on stage and got her $1 million green jacket, which is what we hand out when people hit the green jacket, the $1 million level since joining CBF. We call them mop-free millionaires. And she got her $1 million green jacket. We were so proud of her. Very, very heavy woman. And she took the microphone from me and she said, "Can I say something?" And of course, it's always a little scary in front of 500 people.
What have we unleashed?
Okay, what is she going to say? And I knew she would say some wonderful things. And she said, "The next time you see me on stage behind a microphone, I'll be 100 pounds lighter."
That's amazing.
And she was finally happy with the businesswoman and the business success that she had become, but she wasn't happy with her health and what she saw in the mirror. And she set out on a 12 to 18 month journey to have significant health and weight loss as a priority in her life. And she got with one of our, which is now a CBF coach, Debbie M's. They formed a group of CBF members that wanted to get healthy. And they had a Facebook group where they would hold each other accountable. They would weigh in and share. And she changed her eating habits, her whole lifestyle habits. And doggone it, if it wasn't like a year and a half later, she's as thin as can be, looks beautiful, feels great, healthy. She launched her nonprofit, which she had always dreamed of, called Love Thy Neighbor. And it's like, CBF not only helped her financially finally get her life and business and health and life in order, but it changed the way she views herself and what standards she has for herself. And I just love that. It's not really about the weight loss journey. It's about the health journey. Right. And loving what you see when you look in the mirror and being proud of beyond just the business skills, but being proud of who she's become, a nonprofit founder, a successful, inspiring business owner, and a healthy person who's inspired other people to get healthy and make their health a priority. So she just inspires me all day long. Thank you for asking me to share that story, because I can't tell enough about Joanne Bracchio.
Yeah, great story. Great story. And the thing, Dan can attest to this. Debbie and I were talking either before you got on or just before we went live. And I stopped counting how many demos I set up after 25 or 30. I just stopped counting, and there was no reason to continue. And so with that said, though, there's been a number of people that have said, I was literally just about to give up. I talked to Angel or one of the coaches, and it's like, I'm not giving up yet. And these are not people, to Joanne's amazing story, that were doing this for 40 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 7 years, maybe 10 years. 40s, like, we always talk about that one isolated type of a crazy story, and everybody goes, that's just one. I'm telling you, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of stories similar to Joanne, for sure.
There are so many people that quit when they're 3 feet from gold because they don't know how to go the other 3 feet, right? And you can spend a decade trying to just go the other 3 feet, which makes all the difference in the world in having a business that you love or a business that you've grown to hate. And, I think that's what we do at CBF is we show people it's not an either or, miserable and no life, work all the time, or go do something else. It doesn't have to be an either or. There is a way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. And so there are so many people that find us, this whole cleaning business ecosystem that we've created, that were ready to walk away, and literally ready to give up what they spent a decade building because they were fed up and burned out.
I had a chat today with a CBF member. I have this same as Shawn, like the amount of demos that landed on my schedule. I was like, well, the busy season's going to stay busy for a few more months. And I was chatting today with somebody that's like, I call it the purgatories. You just get in these sticky spots and we all have to get through them. Mm-hmm. But when you run into them without the right resources, without the right help, without the heads up that they're going to happen, no matter how good you are, no matter how hard you work, like you're going to hit them. And you say all the time, new level, new devil. They don't go away. The problems change, but there's a new problem. The minute you solve one, you encounter a new one. And it's so like the community needs the community in a way.
Yes.
Like when you run into those spots, you can bang your head against the wall forever. I have in businesses. I know Shawn has in businesses. We all have, but it's the community that gets you through faster. Hold on. Here's a kiddo coming in here.
Let them come. We love them.
Reggie.
Here's a quote, Dan, that I heard just the other day. I don't know who it was. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but it really rings true. And the quote was, of course, he just left, but the rest of you are here. But the quote was, you can't be happy if you're not making progress. And I think that is so true. Like it doesn't require perfection for us to be happy. And it doesn't even require to be extreme success to be happy. But when you're not making progress, that's when you get burned out. That's when you begin to become miserable and you want to leave. You want to walk away. You want to do something different. And so progress is really at the root of us feeling satisfied and for us to feel like what we're doing is worthwhile. And so if you're not making progress, and I always say, if you're stuck for more than 6 months, it's a you problem, right? It's not the economy. It's not the employees. It's not, those cheap competitors. If you're stuck for 3 months, maybe it's the economy or whatever. But when you're stuck for 1 year, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, it's a you problem. And once we show you what to do differently, you can get unstuck in like 5 minutes. And so progress is really at the root of us feeling satisfied with our business.
I agree with that. I used to always talk about no matter where you're at with it, keep moving, keep talking to people, keep moving, keep trying other things, different things, because a lot of times when you're so isolated, and that's what's great about the community too, is you can identify. That identification with others is huge. And so we hear stories about staring at the ceiling. I can't sleep. I'm staring. I always tell people in my world, if I lose 2 or 3 customers, I'm still going out to dinner Friday with the wife. I'm not worried about my bills. I don't like it, but I'll replace them. If I lose 3 or 4 employees in one day, I'm kind of going, okay, wait a minute, that's a little bit different. And then, the thing about that is, though, to your point earlier, it's not just we're cleaning companies. We happen to be, you've got to talk about, you guys do this so well at CBF. There's something bigger than that. You're doing things bigger than yourself and bigger than this company even, right? And I tell my team, I know everybody thinks we recruit, right? Well, part of our vision statement is, we match great employees with great companies, but the second half of that vision statement says, and we want to solve the employee side of our client's business, basically. So because I tell my team, we're not just recruiting. Number one, we find thousands of jobs a year for people that are looking for jobs. That's something. Number two, our goal should be to put divorce attorneys out of business, because when you come to Higher League Chill, we're helping you relax during growth. And it's okay when it gets a little bit chaotic. Just talk through it. Talk to people in CBF. Get a coach, whatever it is. Talk to Dan Platta. He'll go through we all combined might not all have the answer to every question, but I damn well guarantee you, if you're with CBF and Platta and people involved with CBF and Dan, the answers are there. The answers truly are there.
They haven't stumped me yet. I keep challenging my group. I'm like, give me a hard one. Throw me a hard ball. They haven't stumped me yet, because there isn't a stupid mistake I haven't made. I've made them all. And, I've already paid the stupid tax. And so, I always tell people, you don't have to pay the stupid tax unless you want to. The most expensive way to learn a lesson is to figure it out yourself. The cheapest, fastest way to learn a lesson is to learn from somebody who's already learned that lesson the hard way. And so I love that you mentioned that Higher Lead Chill, is better than a divorce. It's cheaper than couples therapy, right? And who wants to go to that? So, solving your hiring problems, and then I help them solve their retention problems, right? You can get tons of great candidates in the door. We all need that. But if the back door is wide open and they can't wait to run away from your crappy little job that you created inadvertently, then you can't grow. Your hiring is to replace instead of hiring to grow. And so that's why I love working with you guys, because we make a great team. Dan's over there counting all the money they're making. You're helping them add staff, and I'm helping them add it to grow instead of add it to replace. So we make a great team. And then Laura Biancini is keeping them safely insured because when they make a lot more money, they have a bigger target on their back. And so we all make a good team in here.
Protect what matters. I look at so many sets of books and I tell everybody, like, the formula is no different. And we work with exterior cleaning companies and the HVAC guys and like all the different industries. There's one thing that determines who's the most successful. And I don't like successful in terms of money, but not everybody's trying to scale the same. Not everybody has the same growth objectives, but successful in that they absolutely love their business. Yeah. And if you love it, it will grow because you're obsessed with it. And like, you just can't help but engage with it.
And people don't love things they're failing at, no matter what it is. They only love things that they're winning.
Yeah, we want to have fun, right? And the people that I always see that are the most successful are the ones that have the best employees. Always. 100%. It's like it's so funny. I met I was in Michigan. Yes. Well, and like you got to find them, but you got to keep them, right? And if you can't do one or the other, the answer is always in the mirror. Right. And that's the hardest part. I was in Michigan last week doing some podcasting with Keith Kalfas, and then one of our bigger HVAC clients is over there. So I stopped in to see him by Detroit, and he had a buddy that's an electrician, and the guy is just struggling to find the right people and struggling to keep people. And it's like, these guys can't find anybody. I'm just like, it's the mirror, dude. It's not the guys. It's the mirror. Like if it's the wrong guys, then it's your fault. Why did you hire them? Why do you still have them? Do you not know how to recruit to find better guys? Like you're putting up with them and you're complaining about it. The problem isn't the guys. The problem's you. It's just at what point are you ready to like reckon with that? Because you got to go deal with the mirror first.
The reality check that I try to give people when they're constantly saying, nobody wants to work, everybody's lazy, right? The reality check is nobody wants to work for you. Right. And once I turn it around and I look in the mirror and I point the finger at myself, wait a minute, nobody wants to work for me, then I can change it because I can't change them, but I can change me. What am I not doing that makes people say, I love this job. I hope I never get fired. And what can I do to make that dynamic change? And so when we are saying, and I've been there, and most of my CBF members join for that very reason. It's like, nobody wants to work. I can't hire them. Like, no, nobody wants to work for you. You created a crappy job. We didn't mean to. It was all we could afford. It's all we knew. But inadvertently, most of us create a crappy job. So once you fix that piece and you create a job people actually love, where they buy their first home and they upgrade their lifestyle and they make more money and have a better culture than they've ever had at any other job, then you're hooking up with Higher Lead Chill because you're like, I need 10 more employees. I want to double this year, right? And then Dan's over there counting the money for them and making sure the money's in the right buckets.
That's awesome. Debbie, you've had some changes over the years from having no coaches to a lot of coaches. And there's been some things, maybe a little bit of turnover in some coaches, which happens all the time, no matter what industry you're in. Tell us a little bit about your coaches right now, who you have coaching. Do you still have are the coaches specialized in one or two things? Obviously, they're very successful and know how to grow any part of the business and talk about that. But tell me a little bit more about that. Keep us up to date on that.
Thanks for asking about that, because I really do believe I have the best coaches in the world. And, I've mentored with a lot of really big names that have given great advice. And I spent a lot of time one-on-one with Darren Hardy. And one thing he told me, 3 or 4 years ago when I was having some problems, and, the mercenary, the patriots, and the terrorists, right? That can be on your team. And he said, that's why I don't have any coaches and I'm a one-man team, right? and I didn't take his advice. He said, don't have coaches. There's just too much hassle. And I just kept working with people and trying to find and attract the right people who are right fit for my culture and the skill set that we need. And I can tell you honestly, I'm so grateful for the coaches that we have. They really are specialists. They're not trying to be everything coaches. And they each have their own niche, but they're all successful residential cleaning business owners. They're not people who had to close their business and now they coach, or sell their business and now they coach. They're people with live, mostly self-running cleaning businesses that don't need them in every minute of the day-to-day operations, and they're still functioning in profitability. And so I love the fact that we have coaches that are still doing the business. I mean, I still own my cleaning business. I've been retired for about 14 years. And not all our coaches are retired, but most of them have relatively self-running businesses. And they all specialize in one particular area of the residential space that people need the most help in. And I'm telling you, this group of coaches, they're all givers. Like, none of them come like this, right? If you're not paying me, I won't talk to you. Like, they all go to our members and they sit down. And our elites, who aren't even coaches, so they don't even get paid, our elites, many of them will just sit down with a brand new member at a conference. Now, obviously, CBF Live was different, but they'll just sit down and help them solve problems. Nobody's paying them. And I just think we have the best coaches on the planet. They do have the best mindset, the best heart to help fix somebody else's business. And the money comes, right? You get paid when you help other people. One way or another, you get paid. And sometimes it's your pay is the satisfaction of seeing a life changed. And sometimes the pay is monetary. And as long as you love both, you're going to find ways to have both. So thank you for asking. I literally do feel like we have the best coaches on the planet, and I am very picky.
I want to hit on one of those coaches because I found this out afterward. Eric made a Facebook post. Eric M's made a Facebook post, and I remember seeing him at the end of the event, and I was like, I don't remember seeing Eric talk, but it didn't register to me that anything would have happened.
Like, where's Eric?
Yeah, and then like he was there at the end. I was like, oh, maybe he just was only able to make it for like the last little bit of it. And then I saw him post like he had like an asthma attack or something crazy happened.
He was in the hospital most of the time. He was supposed to be our speaker on day one, and we pivoted, hoping.
Yeah, I was going to ask you like what happened and how did you?
He was still in the hospital, and I asked him. I said, should I make an announcement, or is this your story to tell? He said, nah, don't make an announcement. He could post later. But literally, the day he arrived, thankfully, he was there for pictures and some things that we were able to capture for later, for B-roll and stuff. But he went into the worst asthma attack. He said he's never had one like it. He was in the emergency room the whole night the first day. We thought he'd get out the next day and be able to speak, but he was still in the hospital the next day. So we're like, you know what? We'll just catch you next time. But he and his wife stayed the whole time. They didn't like pack up and leave. And the very last day, he was able to participate in the end celebration.
Yeah. I saw that at the end. I was like, where was he the whole time? Like, where did he just?
He hated it. He is such a good speaker, and you will get to hear him in the future. And he and his wife launched Cleaning Couples in Business.
Yeah.
And it is phenomenal. Like, they are such an amazing example of couples doing life together and business together, which is very hard. My husband and I would have killed each other by now if we were running a business together, which we actually did have speed cleaning for 12 years, but I was never really involved heavily. But I couldn't work with my spouse, but they have modeled working with your spouse or your business partner or your partner in such a beautiful way. And so they've put together a whole course and a curriculum, and they're changing lives. They have a free class every month. You guys need to make sure you promote it sometime. But the couples blueprint every month for cleaning business owner couples in business. And they just share challenges and strategies and blueprint steps for not killing each other and being able to go home at night and turn it off.
And they're a good example of not, I think they're definitely not involved in the day-to-day. Didn't they move out of the country or something? And
they live in Mexico.
Yeah, they own a cleaning company, moved to Mexico.
Yeah. And their cleaning company is thriving without them. I mean, obviously they're following the CBF model, which is built for somebody to ultimately become an absentee owner. But they have their lane, and they each run their part of the business, CEO and COO, I think. And they have their team, their boots on the ground, and they're thriving. So yeah, if you do it right, you don't have to work like a dog day and night in your business if you do it right. And they are a great example of that. So in the future, we've even talked about, we may at some point do a couples retreat. So we'll see. There's all kinds of things that CBF is doing to change lives. We have another program called CEO Plus. You have to be at $1 million or more with a true executive leadership team to even qualify to be in this group. And it's just advanced level talent acquisition, because now we all have figured out how to hire and retain great cleaners with the help of Hire Lead Chill. But now the whole new step in your journey, when you're over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million and above, as many of our members are, it's like, yes, but now how do I build a leadership team? And how do I step back without micromanaging? And how do I develop them every step of the way when I can't afford to hire, a 6-figure leader up front? And so we have CEO Plus. We have so many things at every level, including 90 days mop free for the owner who's been cleaning forever and just wants to put down the mop and build the team. So every level.
Dan,
a lot of bragging tonight.
So the question for me is there going to be another virtual event? Is this like a new annual event, or because it's virtual and it may be like easier to do and cheaper to do? I don't know if it's cheaper.
Definitely going to be next year again. So there will be a CBF Live Virtual 2027. It'll probably be around the same dates. We always do them in April. But we are playing with the idea of doing an encore, another duplicate event for all those people who didn't make it. We're still having discussions around, whether or not we have the bandwidth and the money. It's expensive to put those on, and we don't charge much for it. So all I want to do is break even, right? I just want to deliver the value, the content, make sure people are being served. But we are considering an encore event.
Is it, I don't know if you don't want to answer this, don't answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is it more expensive to do a virtual event like that and like fly coaches in and everything else? Or is it more expensive to do it in Dallas and deal with the hotels and the food and all the, like, getting everything set up that way?
I don't have all my numbers in yet. Diana has them, but we just haven't had time to meet. She told me yesterday she's got the numbers. So we'll probably meet tomorrow, but definitely the events live are way more expensive because we go all out. I mean, we go all out. We have, we just go all out, but we also went all out for this. So it's more expensive to host a live event in person. In-person event. So this is definitely a savings, but it's a completely different dynamic. So
I was to say the ticket prices are way less to get more new people in. That
our in-person events are $500 tickets. This was a $97 ticket with some VIP upgrades. So it is different. But I was able to fly fewer of my staff in, which is a savings. So it's just different.
Yeah.
But yes, overall, it will be more cost effective to do a virtual event.
Yeah.
Well, if it goes into like the first one, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Exactly. So we're thinking about it. We're considering it, and we even have some possible dates in mind. And if we do it, we'll make sure you guys are the first to hear and help us promote it. But the favorite thing I do, and I know you both probably feel the same way, is teaching people, right? Helping them solve problems. And so I can do this stuff all day long. I love it. And doing it virtually and using a real studio to hand off all the stuff that we don't know how to do, all the AV and stuff. It was really fun. And, CBF Live is a lot of work. Even though it's fun, it's a lot of work.
To roll something out like that and to be as successful as it was and to execute at that level, you've got to love what you're doing. It's just no brainer. You have to love what you're doing. And it's funny because Dan and I talk every Tuesday, and another Michael comes in and we talk about some leadership things and strategies. And Michael, a lot of times, why are you guys still doing demos? And it's like, because I love doing a demo. I just love it. My hands are going like this. I'm spitting on my screen. And I talked to somebody today, and she's like, don't you do a lot of these? I go, you're probably my 51st thousandth in 10 years. Yeah. But listen, you got to understand this and that. I don't know what it is. There's times where I get really tired because I'm talking. I've got cough drops over here, and I get tired and all that stuff. But because I'll do 9 o'clock at night if I have to or if I can, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's just like sometimes I go, oh my God, I got 8 demos today. What am I doing? But it's just like one won't show. And then it's like, cool, I get an hour to go to the bathroom and I'll get something to eat real quick and it'll be all right. But it's like next, give me 2 more, man. I don't care. I just love it. I know Dan says the same thing.
It's like a brain surgeon or an oncologist who's curing cancer or curing a tumor, right? It's like you get so energized, even though it's a lot of work, you get so energized by seeing people's lives changed. And that's one of the things that I kept talking to my team about and the production team. And I said, we are here to change lives. We hope we make money. We hope we sign up 1 million CBF members. Of course, we didn't have 1 million attend, but it's like, at the end of the day, if we deliver the best content they could possibly get anywhere for their residential cleaning business, I'm happy, right? Because the clients will come. So it is fun to be a part of something that helps change lives. You have a solution to their chronic nobody wants to work, right? You have that solution. And when you're able to provide that solution, the light bulb comes on and they're like, oh my gosh, you just gave me hope, Shawn. It's just fun. And here I am, 8 o'clock at night. At least I have my glass of wine, right? And like we could all do this till midnight because we just love what we do.
Absolutely. Dan, what do you got to wrap it up, buddy?
Man, back to just like how impressed I was with the event. And I even know this happens because when we're at CBF Live in Dallas in the past, like the breakouts and stuff like that, it can be 7, 8 at night and people are still going, right? And they're still
we did roundtables late at night.
Yeah. And I remember like my wife was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to scarf down some food quick. And then I got to get back. I got 1.5 hours of roundtables. And she's like, what? You guys are still going? Who would possibly show up? And I'm like, I don't know, man, but it's Debbie and it's CBF. And like, there's probably going to be people showing up. So I got to be there doing my roundtables. And like Shawn said, in the vendor booth, it's like, oh, shoot, there's 8 people here. Just like when we're at the live event, there's people lined up and you're like, I'm trying to answer everybody's questions. I hope you all have the same question as this person because they asked it first. Yeah. And the roundtables is like, holy smokes. The number of people that were so committed to their business and being a part of it. And like, we're talking, it was like 7 to 8:30 or 6:30 to 8 or something. I was
wondering, will they show up? Can we compete with the news or the Yellowstone or whatever's on TV these days? They showed up.
Oh yeah. I had so many people book a demo with me.
Yeah.
Or like jump in my vendor booth the next day because they're like, I was in your roundtables and I came to 2 of them, but I still have questions and I still wanted to pick your brain about this thing that you said. And I didn't get a chance to ask it because there were 17 other people in there that were asking questions. And it was just like, I mean, I felt like I was drinking from a fire hose. I don't know what they felt like, but it was overwhelming, like positivity and support and growth. It was just so cool to like have people just pumped and going all day. I mean, like after a full day, coming back and be like, give me more. I need more. And it's so cool.
I love it. I love the response that you guys got. And I know ZenMade, which was our event sponsor, they were really thrilled with the results and the entire event. Amar himself worked a roundtable. And it was just all of our vendors or sponsors is what we called them at this event. They just brought the value. All of our coaches brought the value. But the best part is the attendees. They showed up, they engaged, they participated. And I think it's going to make a difference in all of their business. So I can't wait to see how they're doing when we do our next event, whether it's next year or, in 6 months. But it's fun.
It'll be really interesting at the retreat. Like now people are going to like really crave the retreat since they didn't get the in-person in the spring.
Oh, yeah.
And we space in Phoenix.
We did our usual secret announcement at CBF Live. We weren't sure if we were going to do it or not. We played this video to reveal where we're going because you have to be a CBF member to attend our retreats. And we got this gorgeous, beautiful resort in Phoenix, Arizona. And I've never spent time in Phoenix. And it'll be hot and summery. And they have this huge water park for the kids. So like people are bringing their families, making this a business expense family vacation. And we were able to announce that at CBF Live. So beautiful resort in Phoenix, Arizona in September.
Looking forward to that. Yep. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Deb, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for the event. Anybody out there that is looking for CBF stuff, I've been running the website, the link across. We'll post it all over the place. Best Damn Bookkeeping is exactly that. The best damn bookkeeping you're going to find. You guys
do our books. They do our books. Thank you, Dan.
They do. Yep. They do Debbie's books. And I don't know how many.
Hire Lead Chill
CBF
does our hiring. You guys are doing our hiring.
Yep. And that's it, everybody. Go reach out to Dan, Debbie, if you need some help finding some people. I'll try to find a spot on my calendar if I can for you.
Good luck.
Good luck with that. All right, guys. Everybody take good care. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks,
we'll
everybody.
see you next time.
Thanks for everybody that joined us live. Good to see you again, Laura. Take care.